Welcome back, Fire Emblem fans. I am back with some more news and info for y'all. So over the past week since my last video, we've had the new trailer Welcome to Somniel and some more info on Twitter about all things Fire Emblem Engage. This may be a shorter video because I'm not going to be breaking down the entire Welcome to Somniel trailer because there's only a few things I really wanted to talk about in today's video. So without further ado, let's just get in the video. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about are inheritance skills. So I thought this new mechanic was quite fun and interesting to talk about. So when someone fights alongside an emblem, they'll earn bond experience. This experience will then increase the bond levels between both characters. So as the level increases, you'll be able to unlock new skills and various stat increases in a menu in a portion of the map called the ring chamber. So these inheritance skills are really cool because they allow the units to have extra boons even when the rings aren't equipped. So the whole point of it is your character is going to be able to have these extra skills because he built this bond over time with the character. There's however no word on if the sync bonuses will apply at the same time as the inheritance skills. I wouldn't see a problem why they shouldn't stack on one another, but then again, maybe for balance purposes they won't allow it, but I don't think that's going to be the case. The big thing for me in the new Welcome to Somniel trailer really has to do with the Tower of Trials. So this new feature is extremely interesting. It's a challenge tower slash levels, which, you know, it's not the first time we see this in a Fire Emblem game. I'm thinking of course of the Tower of Valny in Fire Emblem 8, but this one seems quite unique for a couple of reasons. The first one being the ability to create your own trial map. So that looked actually kind of like the coolest thing ever. You'll be able to upload those maps online to allow other players to try them out. The one thing I didn't like is the fact that you can only upload one of your created maps at a time, then you have to delete the other one, which I thought sucked because it doesn't allow players to upload a lot of variety of maps, and I'd like to see a lot of players maybe like just really get into making a lot of trial maps and allowing them to be distributed online so that other players can try them out, you know? It can make for a lot of extra fun gameplay time. As cool as this feature look, I doubt there'll be an insane amount of customization because as you can see on the menu being shown on screen right now, you can see there's a limit to the amount of things that can be placed down. Maybe you can unlock more with time, but I doubt that will be it. Also, the canvas they're using seems to be a little simplistic. I'm thinking that maybe they'll open it up a little bit down the line, but then again, maybe not because, you know, it's only an extra feature that's only there for a little bit of extra fun. I don't think they're going to allow insane map customization, like create your own map from scratch. But, you know, maybe in a future DLC, if that feature is super popular, we might see a little bit of addition to it. Okay, so this might be me putting on my tinfoil hat on, but I want to bring attention to the trials that people can undertake. Something a lot of people picked up along the way while watching all the trailers being released is that they've been using a lot of older maps. We can see a lot of older Fire Emblem maps being used in the footage that they're putting in the trailers. I personally doubt they'll be using these older maps in the main story, and I doubt even more that they remade all those maps just for the purpose of putting them in trailers. So my tinfoil hat theory is that these maps will be what will be in the trials. A lot of the trials will be older maps from older Fire Emblem games that they'll bring back for you to try with this new 3D UI, with these new characters, these new skills, these new engage skills, allowing you to just re-experience things of the past. Because we know that this game is really based on thinking about what's going on in the past, you know, with all the older emblems being brought in, older characters that we're going to be seeing. I think they're really making a concentrated effort at using nostalgia to push a little bit the game, and I think they'll be doing that through the trial maps being older maps from the FE franchise. I don't have any real evidence other than my speculations for this. Take it with a grain of salt. So if the trials are older maps from Fire Emblem games, which map would you like to see? All right, the next things we're going to see are things that were revealed on the Japanese Fire Emblem Twitter, starting with Battlefield exploration. Okay, this is probably like one of my top tier favorite new features. I don't know why, I just love the idea of being able to explore the battlefield after a battle. So that's exactly what you're going to be able to do. We only got a short clip of it. So after the battle, you'll be able to walk around the battlefield and even interacting with some of your allies, having conversations with them, which will lead to you getting bond shards from those conversations. They also said you will be able to walk around to look for lost items on the map. You'll be able to scavenge after battle looking for extra items, which I don't know why, but it just adds an extra layer. I feel like realism might not be the right word, but it feels like a logical aspect of these types of strategy games where, you know, you finish a battle, you're not going to be leaving loot on the map, you'll be looking for stuff, you know. It just makes sense to me, and I think it's a cool new feature. It's a very simple feature, but nonetheless I'm really excited for it. And the next feature is indeed a controversial one. The Dragon Time Crystal. What are those? Well, it's the return of Divine Pulse or Mila's Turnwheel or whatever other way it's been called in the past. So this is not even a surprise. There's always been a sort of turning back the time mechanic in Fire Emblem. I think arcing all the way back till since Awakening. It's been pretty common at this point. So I don't think it's big news. I think we were all expecting it to show up. However, as it has always been with the Fire Emblem franchise, it's divisive. People are having a lot of conversations about it. Personally, I'm of the camp of I don't like this mechanic. However, I'm also of the opinion that, you know, if I don't like it, I just won't use it. I don't like it because I like to challenge myself in these games. I like the challenge level of, you know, having the risk of losing your units, and I don't want to use it as a crutch to maybe like turn back time to like save a unit or whatever. But generally, I just approach the game from a perspective of I will not be using it because I don't enjoy this mechanic. But I think it's important to have a discussion about it nonetheless, because it is an important mechanic and it does affect the way sometimes the maps are designed. So the main concern I've seen online has to do with the amount of uses that they'll give you for this Dragon Time Crystal thing. I think a lot more players would be on board with the mechanic if the amounts of uses per maps were extremely limited. Or, you know, if you could simply just turn it off as an option. But I think on a more casual playthrough, the mechanic makes 100% like sense to use, because you're simply approaching the game from a standpoint of I want to see all the characters, I want to get through the story without losing anybody, and then this makes it a very good quality of life improvement. But I think when you're looking at the game at harder difficulties, they should either turn this feature off or limit it extremely, or just have an ultra hard difficulty where it's just simply just not available. You know, after clearing the game once, the game unlocks an extra like ultra hard mode where you can play the game without having this mechanic to increase the challenge level. Because if we use 3 houses as an example, it turned a lot of people off having the Divine Pulse, because there was a bunch of ambush spawns in the map, and this forced you to have to use the Turnwheel. So there was like no real way to play the game on this super hard difficulty without using the Divine Pulse, because players that are interested in a harder difficulty sometimes want to do challenge runs without having to use this crutch. But in 3 houses, they were somewhat forced to use it because the ambush spawns would kind of put you in a position where if you put a unit in a certain position, it was over and there was nothing you could do about it because the enemies would spawn out of nowhere, and then it was like too late. It's not like you could strategize for that stuff unless you kind of knew what was going to happen ahead of time. And I understand they made the ambush spawns in a way to get you to get rid of your Divine Pulse, but they could have simply just removed it in the maddening mode. Would have made it so much simpler. In conclusion, I think it's a good thing to have in the game because it's a good quality of life feature that helps out players that are more casual, but I think there should be really a concern towards the more hardcore portion of the fan base who want to play the game on the harder modes and just, you know, do more than just play through the game. They want to challenge themselves, because not using it sometimes in certain difficulty levels is not an option. You have to use it. I'd love if the Fire Emblem devs this time around took this into consideration and change a little bit of it, because I think it's a good feature nonetheless at the end of the day, but I think it's just that it needs to be maybe reined in a little bit. That way all the players can have their cake and eat it too, you know? I think there's a way to approach this for balance purposes, but I guess we'll see how they do it at the end of the day in the game. So I've rambled on for long enough. Let me know down in the comments below what is your favorite feature that we talked about in today's video, and which of the old Fire Emblem maps you would like to see make a return in the trial maps. And also let me know what you think about the Dragon Time Crystal. Is this usually a feature you use? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know. I've gone on for long enough, so love you all very much. Leave a like if you like, subscribe if you want to see more Fire Emblem content coming out every Monday, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.